And, like, I remember being terrified at those skeletons, you know, dropping from the ceiling and on the boat. And then rewatching it, I'm like, holy shit. This is PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know. It's at least PlayStation 2. Wahoo! Welcome back. We got some more Klonoa here. Yep, a few months ago we did Klonoa, Door to Phantom Isle. Now it's Klonoa 2, Lunatea's Veil. Or Veil. Yeah, it's Veil.
Veil?
Pronounced Veil. Like a veil.
oh,
veil
gotcha.
over
Like the
truth.
veil is lifted.
Yep, the veil is lifted.
Gotcha. Yeah, this one just came out, too.
Uh-huh.
The remastered on the Switch.
Yep. So it was a remaster of the first game and the second game. We played the original, and the original of Klonoa 2 is going for like $200.
Yeah.
But like a physical copy of the original of Door to Phantom Isle is like $600.
Holy shit.
Uh-huh.
It blows my mind how
It's a spicy
expensive.
meatball.
Yeah. How expensive some of these things are.
It's just like collectors and
Yeah.
like rarity and stuff like that. All those factors tie into just ridiculous prices and game inflation. But luckily, we are in the time of remasters.
Yes.
So most games get another chance to shine with an affordable way for a new audience to play.
And we did look at the differences between the original, the Wii, and this one.
Yeah. Well, that was the first
for the first
game.
one. And
Yeah.
it wasn't too different. So I can't imagine that this one would be too terribly different from the original.
From what I've heard is this one's just a bit more colorful.
Okay.
Which some people are kind of like,
Yeah. That was us standing in the liquor store trying to find a good wine.
Help me, Klonoa. You're my only hope.
Help! Help!
Shh. It's a Kingdom Hearts joke.
Oh, I was like, I have no idea what's going on. Part of me was like, are you trying to do the...
No. That's kill, die. That's how you do that when you say kill, die.
Oh my god.
But no. And I'm not sure how long this takes place after the first one, but Klonoa has aged a bit. But it also seems like he was lifted from Phantom Isle and spat into this world.
Yeah. Not to mention, there's some, like, personality differences.
Okay.
So, like, because I watched you play for a bit, and from what I've seen, it's like he's more jaded.
One of the differences I know for a fact, because I've seen footage of the original, is those two are in shadow in the original.
Oh.
So you have no idea who they are. They're just shadowed characters. Which, I've complained about this before, and it's more of a nitpick, but just because you have like better technology, better colors and stuff like that,
necessarily
doesn't
mean
mean
you
you
need to
should
use it for
lift
everything.
every single fog and shadow and stuff like that. Like, that builds atmosphere. That has purpose.
I like also understand though whenever they're like, oh, we can give them more character now. So it's like they could have more character and more dynamic and things like that they just didn't have the technology to do before. So I can see it either being a negative or positive, just depending on how you look at it.
Definitely. But with the exception of Klonoa, this is a whole new cast of characters.
Yes.
Forget Hupo, forget Gaudius, Joka.
Yeah.
They're all part of the first game.
Yep.
We have Lolo.
She's adorable.
Yes. And Popka.
Wait, what's his name?
I believe his name is Popka. Hang on, we're about to find out when he starts talking.
I thought he said Bubka. I was like, what?
No. Not to be confused with our cat Popka, who is not a mascot.
And if you don't
Yeah,
know...
Popka.
Okay. I was going to say, and if you don't know why she's not a mascot, go watch the short that says why Bubka's not a mascot.
Wow, rude.
Because she's rude. Except for today when she was like really affectionate. And I was just like, God damn it.
She chooses when to be affectionate. She is your stereotypical cat.
Yes. Like, Luna is very much a stereotypical cat until it comes to me. Like, even when she doesn't want to be picked up, she will let me pick her up if I need her. She won't be happy about it.
Oh,
but
there's always a bigger fish.
Just great.
So in the first game, Klonoa was very much like,
Wahoo! Super.
he's a little more reserved in this one. There's more of a...
Which I like better. He looks older. His voice isn't as high pitched. He's a little bit more reserved.
Yeah, his mannerisms are different.
Yeah, he's a little bit more skeptical.
Which makes sense because, like, we're just taking our feelings directly from the first game. So if you haven't seen or played the first game and you don't know what happens, go check out that playthrough and then come back here because this is, in my opinion, this is a direct continuation. Especially for us because that was only a few months ago.
Yeah, so it was still pretty fresh. But I was pretty excited to see this one because even though I don't know if I would enjoy playing every aspect of the first game, I really enjoyed watching it.
Okay.
So I was pretty stoked when you got this one.
Yeah, I played it for a little bit, and now this is my recorded run. So this isn't a blind run. I did practice a little bit just to get familiar and be like, all right, how similar is it to the first one?
Yeah.
It's pretty damn similar. The only difference is this has more 3D angles.
Yeah. It also looks smoother. So like the movement and the camera is a lot smoother. From what I've noticed anyway. Again, not playing it, I don't know for certain, but just like watching it, it looks like it moves smoother.
Yeah. What I will say, not necessarily a negative, but the music isn't as strong for me. But it's also like I played Klonoa 1 numerous times.
And I think the
whereas
music...
this is the first time I heard this music, so there's no
the music,
attachment
the
there.
music in here to me feels more atmospheric than like, let's bump to this, you know, during Doodle Night, you know.
Okay.
It just feels more like it's reflective of the atmosphere that they're in.
Because I found like Klonoa 1, almost every track was a bop.
Yeah.
Whereas so far 2 songs have become earworms. Whereas, but again, there is a difference between listening to the soundtrack in the game and listening to the soundtrack, the track on its own.
I would
you can
agree.
pick up all of those nuances.
And I think that it's either positives or negatives for that, because there are some songs that you'll play that I'm like, I'd take it or leave it, like I don't much care, and you're like, what? This is crazy! Like this is such a good song. But what makes it a good song for you is knowing what happened in the game, during that song. And it's like, I didn't fully understand that until I played Link's Awakening.
Okay.
And then I was like, oh, I get it now. Because now I hear that song and I like flash back to playing the game. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. It is a good song. So, you know, it could be one of those where like...
Yeah. But see how like you fire in these cannons and you go in like different perspectives?
Yeah.
That's a new feature because... when this one first debuted, it was like Klonoa's first use of 3D models.
Okay.
Because the first one was sprites in like 3D modeled backgrounds, whereas this one's complete 3D models.
Yeah.
Now, that's not as grand with the remake because like both games utilize 3D models.
I don't think I dislike 3D models as much as a lot of people do.
I think
Like-
it's the same as like 2D animation versus 3D animation. There's some similarities there. And like that fluidity is just beautiful. Whereas there's a little more rigidness with models. Even if it's slight.
Yeah.
And especially if you're like an animation connoisseur, that might be more jarring to you.
I feel like the difference like for 3D is it doesn't age as well.
Right.
So like just like with
That's a
models,
definite.
it doesn't age as well. Like I can look at this right now and be like, wow, this is really beautiful. It's, you know, a very good looking game. And then 20 years later when we're revisiting, I could be like, oh my God. Just kind of like what we did with Pirates of the Caribbean, you know, watching the second one. And like, I remember being terrified at those skeletons, you know, dropping from the ceiling and on the boat. And then rewatching it, I'm like, holy shit, this is PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know. It's at least PlayStation 2. Yeah. That's the console that this game originally was released on, PlayStation 2.
Yeah.
And we got like big old fish lunging at you from the background. But yeah, you can tell from the first level of this compared to the first level of the first game that there's like a contrast.
Yeah.
The first level of Klonoa 1 was very
happy,
cheerful.
dreamlike, whimsical, and yeah. Whereas this one is kind of dark.
Yeah, there's a
and,
melancholy here, which I think is a nice reflection of how the first game ended.
Yeah.
Because the first game is infamous for its sad
It
ending.
almost makes that's what makes
happens.
it feel like it's a continuation.
Yes. Because it's picking up where the last one left off.
Yeah, but he's older, so it's like he was wailing through time for a year or two.
Maybe.
Or he went through puberty and that flight path.
I don't know if he went on separate adventures and this is just a new one.
Yeah.
If he went back to his home and then he was cast to this. Or, with the exception of the age gap, I'd like to think that he was sucked out of Phantomouth and threw into this world.
Yeah.
Like, hey, that world saved, this one needs you.
Yeah. It just, the only reason that I don't know that it would be that is because
they changed his clothes.
Well, yeah, well, they changed his clothes, but he's also grown. Like, he's not as small, he's not as childlike.
You're right. Yeah, he's more of a teenager.
Like, he is a little bit bigger.
Because, like, in the first game, he was very much like, yeah, we got this.
Yeah. He was very much a little
Whereas
kid.
Earlier, if you caught that, Popka's like, hey, you could grab this enemy. And he's like a double jump? Pfft, I already know that.
Yeah.
He's like, all right, hotshot, we'll show it off.
Yeah.
So he's got a little bit of attitude. Not an edge.
Yeah.
Just an
He's
attitude.
got the teenager sass.
Yes. He's not like Sonic, to where he's just like, that's way past cool.
Yeah.
He doesn't really have a catchphrase.
Which I like. With the exception of Wahoo!
Wahoo!
But yeah, I like his Pac-Man hat.
Mm-hmm. See, that's funny. So, another remake, probably at the time of this video being released, is Pac-Man World.
Yeah.
And I thought of doing a playthrough of Pac-Man World and even recorded the original one. But I'm more supportive of giving Klonoa another chance than Pac-Man. Pac-Man's always going to have new games. It's a gaming icon.
Yeah.
Way back from the arcade. Does that mean we'll get a Pac-Man 4? Who knows, but I won't be hurt if we don't get
Well, I feel like even
World
people
4.
that have never played Pac-Man, they know what Pac-Man is.
Exactly. Whereas Klonoa, he's never had a time to shine. He was always just like another platformer.
Yeah.
So if this sells well, we have hopes of future Klonoa games.
Yeah.
So that's definitely why I wanted to purchase this. But the other reason is I never played this game before and I wanted a chance to.
Yeah.
Because I've heard good things. I heard like the Klonoa games are like a very underrated 1-2 punch.
Okay. And when we were watching the comparison, I think the main thing that I liked better, I want to say it was on the Wii version for the first game, was his eyes.
Oh.
And they didn't do it with his eyes in this one, and it made me a little bit sad.
Okay.
He has kind of like
People notoriously hate the Wii version.
It has nothing to do with like the gameplay or anything like that. It was just specifically the design of his eyes. They had like more color and depth, and like they had the little shine so that it looked like an eyeball.
Oh, okay.
Whereas this one kind of looks like the cat clock, where the eyes like go back and forth. It's just yellow and then like the pupil.
Well, we established earlier he is a Cabbit.
Not a cabbage, which is what I thought you said. I was like, he's a fucking cabbage?
No, he's a cat rabbit. He's a Cabbit. Oh. Oh, cool. We can replay cutscenes. Alrighty.
Nice.
That's a nice little feature. We won't really utilize it in this playthrough, but it's nice to have.
Yeah.
We'll only commentate on these cutscenes once. If I can learn how to talk properly. Who knows, maybe in Season 4. We're already in Season 3 and I botched that.
Who knows? I like that guy's hat.
Baguji.
It looks like an ice cream cone.
It does look like an inverted ice cream cone. I need a very cool hat. Perfect.
He himself is just the melted ice cream. With his little Rayman hands that aren't attached to his body.
No, it's going to be interesting, especially when, I don't know if we're going to record this, probably not the entire game, but when you see the first game with these updated graphics to where you can kind of see what the characters are supposed to be. Whereas they kind of had that abstract look to where like you could kind of make out what it was, but you couldn't pinpoint what the design was. Now with the technology, you're clearly like, oh, that's what that looks like.
Yeah. Well, because even like right now, I know one of the biggest things is like the fog. How people like the fog, it gives it atmosphere.
Well, like
they're still kind of doing that. Where
the colors of the original were more muted.
Oh yeah, it was definitely
Whereas
much darker.
These colors pop. And so far, the only thing I'd agree is I would have preferred if those opening 2 bad guys were still in shadow. Like, even if it's kind of like this.
Yeah.
Where it's kind of like a silhouette. Because it just gives you that sense of mystery of just like, oh, it's the bad guys.
Yeah.
Who are they? Because they get a proper reveal a little later on. So it's kind of weird to where, like, they're supposed to be, like, the mysterious villains, but, like, you just clearly see their models.
They're not mysterious.
It's like, not so mysterious now, are they?
So in here, we're learning more about Lolo.
But also our duty. We have to ring the 4 bells of the 4 kingdoms to save the land of Lunatea.
I do like that they got rid of his collar.
Oh, yeah?
I didn't much care for the collar.
Okay. Now, see, that right there is a big difference. Notice how, like, in the first game, sure, you got it, we're best friends. Whereas he's like, sure, I guess. Like, he's along for the ride, but he's not, like, eager.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, we gotta finish our pilgrimage so Lolo can become a full priestess.
There's a bird on his head.
Oh my gosh, there is.
It like flapped its wings, and I was like, "What is that?"
What was that?
It's a little bird on his head.
That's why I have you here, to notice the small little details that I can never pick up.
always do.
Like Dagran's assless chaps.
You were like, they had good stats. I'm like, yeah, to make up for those missing pant legs.
All right. So, this is Klonoa 2, Lunatea's Veil. Lalakusha is our next level, and we're going to continue that in the next part. We hope you guys enjoy this playthrough. It's new to us, and we hope it's enjoyable for you. See you next time.
Toodles.